Hi there. I recently watched a very long and fascinating interview with David Morrell on Jack Carr's channel. And as I've mentioned before, Jack Carr was the influence for my doing this channel of reviews. And obviously Jack is a very, very noted thriller writer, and he acknowledges the help and the influence he was given by David Morrell. He grew up reading those type of thrillers, First Blood, etc. But when he wanted to become a writer himself after leaving the SEALs, he contacted David Morrell, who was very, very helpful. And I will add that Marcus told me the same. When he started writing, David Morrell gave him a lot of very helpful advice. Anyway, I'll put a link to the interview because it goes over so many topics: the movies, the knives, other films, who Rambo was based on, all sorts of very interesting things. But one of the things that's mentioned is a book that David Morrell edited, 100 must-read thrillers. So it perked my interest and I bought it, and I recently finished it. And really what it is, it's a collection of thrillers from going throughout history, starting with Theseus and the Minotaur, 1500 BC, and right through to the cut-off date, which I think was around about 2000. And if an author had written a series of books, for example, Ian Fleming with the James Bond, they just picked one book to review, and the people who are doing the commentary on it and the critique on it are themselves thriller writers. David Morrell contributes quite a few of the reviews and comments. So it's a really interesting format. I previously did review a book about the British thrillers, the classic British thrillers, which I found interesting, and this, which is not restricted to any one country, is equally interesting. It's always good to read a review of a book either before you buy it, to find out what it's about and whether you're going to like it, or if it's a book you've read, it may give you some insights into some of the meanings of the book. You may disagree with some of the things that the reviewer says, and that's fine. But it's kind of a debate, but you're just getting one side of it. There's an introduction in the book by David Morrell, and then, as I say, it goes right back to Theseus, books like Macbeth, classics like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Prometheus. In the timeline, the first of the books that I read the review of, because it's a book I always found interesting, was Last of the Mohicans by James Fenimore Cooper. And I will say the review is fairly critical as to his writing, but what it did was show the differences between the book and the various movies that have been made about it, and how the character differed. And it was interesting from that point of view. A delightful book is Kim, obviously Rudyard Kipling, and the reviewer of that sets the whole scene of those times and everything, and does make the point that Kipling has been criticised by the woke generation because obviously he was very much part of the British Empire, but he had a love for the particularly for India, which comes across India, its culture, its peoples, and so on, comes across in Kim, most definitely. Hound of the Baskervilles is the book selected to represent Arthur Conan Doyle's work, and really interesting review of that, because it's one of the odd Sherlock Holmes books, because he's not in it for quite a substantial part of it. So it's good from that point of view. Riddle of the Sands, Erskine Childers, written in 1903. One of the things about that book was it sparked spy mania. It was one of the books that sparked spy mania, along with the writings of William Le Queux, and helped to set up the British Secret Service as a result of it. So it's a very significant book from that point of view. Tarzan, Edgar Rice Burroughs. When I was a lad, me and my father used to read much the same books. He would either pick them up in the library or books he'd bought, and he recommended that I read Tarzan, and I didn't really fancy it. I was reading Biggles and books like that about aircraft, and I didn't really want to read it. And in the end, he got a little bit angry. He said, "Look, you will like it." And so I started reading, and I got hooked. And he was 100% right. It's a terrific book, and I was really glad I read it. 39 Steps. And again, the differences between the book and the movie, and the character in the book. Rogue Male by Geoffrey Household, very significant book, very interesting. I do believe it was made into a film as well, and the review of that is by David Morrell, because he found it a book. He found that it was a very influential work. And him and Jack Carr talk about it on that podcast. High and the Mighty by Ernest K. Gann. He specialised in aviation. He was a pilot, professional commercial pilot, and his books about aviation, I've got quite a few of them, and I will no doubt get round to reviewing them. My good friend Pete Morgan sent me them as a present, and I found them fascinating. And then From Russia with Love, it's my favourite Bond book of the Ian Fleming books, and it's my favourite Bond film. And I thought the film adaptation was really good. It was before it got too much in the tongue-in-cheek and gadget-inspired world. My second favourite Bond film is Casino Royale, which introduced Daniel Craig as the character. I thought they did a really good job on that, but it was largely due to Martin Campbell's direction, because the subsequent films after that one have been quite disappointing in my opinion. Anyway, there's many other books reviewed. The interesting thing is I read the reviews of the books that I had myself read, but it also inspired me to read some of the reviews of the other books, which caught my eye and made me want to read some of the actual books as well. So from that point of view, it's been a really worthwhile read, and I think you'll find it interesting too.